The 2025 real estate market in the greater DC area is shaping up to be an interesting one. In this video, I'm going to share 9 key factors that I'm watching closely this year that could impact buyers, sellers, and investors in Washington, DC, Northern Virginia, and Maryland. This is not a prediction video, okay? These are simply the trends that I'm keeping an eye on to help all of my clients make informed real estate decisions throughout 2025. If you're new here, my name is Hartunian. I'm your greater DC area realtor. I help people buy and sell homes all throughout the DC metro. If you find this helpful, like this video and subscribe, and then also check the description for a free consultation link and all my contact info. Let's jump in. Number 1, we're going to start with interest rates and affordability. Without question, interest rates are the number 1 factor affecting buyers and sellers in 2025. When rates change, so does buying power, which impacts demand and home prices across the entire DC metro housing market. We focus on 2 key rates, okay? The Fed Reserve rate, which affects short-term borrowing and adjustable rate mortgages, and also the 10-year Treasury yield. This truly does drive the 30-year fixed mortgage rates. If the Fed Reserve cuts rates this year, mortgage rates should gradually decline, increasing affordability and buyer demand. However, if inflation stays stubborn, we could see higher for longer mortgage rates, keeping many buyers on the sidelines. Since the meeting on January 29th, the Fed decided to maintain the federal funds rate between the 4.25 and 4.5% range, indicating a pretty cautious approach due to some economic uncertainties. Some recent developments, such as the imposition of tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China, have heightened some concerns about inflation. While some economists anticipate that inflation will decrease later in the year, potentially allowing for additional rate cuts, the Fed Reserve has emphasized more of a wait-and-see approach, essentially holding interest rates steady while not fully committing to further rate cuts at this time. Right now, mortgage rates in DC, Maryland, and Virginia are hovering around 6.5% to 7%, which is a challenge for affordability. But also it's an opportunity for buyers who can negotiate seller concessions or rate buy-downs, especially for homes that are slightly overpriced that have been sitting on the market. It's a great opportunity for buyers right now. Okay, number 2, last year's presidential election and the market uncertainty that comes from that. A major election year creates uncertainty, and uncertainty slows the housing market. Historically, real estate activity slows down before a presidential election as buyers and sellers wait to see how policies will shift. While we saw fewer transactions in Q3 and Q4 of 2024 leading up to the election, a rebound could certainly occur in 2025 once all the dust settles. Key housing policies to watch since the election are the interest rate outlook that the new presidency has on the market. How does the economy change now that the president has switched? And what is the confidence of the country? What the housing supply looks like and the overall affordability initiatives that are given to home buyers, especially first-time home buyers. And lastly, the tax policies on home sales and mortgage interest deductions. As of the beginning of February 2025, homeowners in the greater DC area should be aware of the following Fed and state policies related to home sales and mortgage interest deductions for their taxes. Number 1, of course, is capital gains tax on home sales. On the Fed level, when selling a primary residence, the home that you live in, homeowners that are single may exclude up to $250,000 of capital gains from their taxable income. It's $500,000 if you are filing jointly and if you're married. This is provided that they have owned and lived in the home for at least 2 out of the last 5 years. Okay, so if you bought a home and you sell it and you live there for at least 2 years out of 5 and you make money on the sale, if you're single, up to $250,000 you can write off. If you're married, up to $500,000 in gains. On the state level, for Washington, D.C., capital gains are taxed. So now you're taxed on the income, right, that you make. You are taxed on the state level up to 10.75%. In Maryland and Virginia, you're taxed up to 5.75% on that income. Number 2 is mortgage interest deductions. Now, homeowners can deduct mortgage interest on the first $750,000 of mortgage debt if you are married, or $375 if you are filing separately. This limit applies to mortgages taken out after December 15th, 2017. There are new provisions being put in place for 2025 to revert to the prior limits unless new legislation is enacted. The previous limits were $1 million if you're filing jointly and up to $500,000 if you are filing separately. Number 3, state and local tax deduction, also known as SALT. The deduction for state and local taxes, including property taxes, is capped at $10,000. This cap is in effect throughout the rest of 2025 and may be subject to change based on future legislation. And lastly, number 4, your standard deduction for the tax year 2025. The standard deduction is $15,000 for single filers and $30,000 for married couples that are filing jointly. Homeowners really should assess whether itemizing deductions, including your mortgage interest and property taxes, provides a greater tax benefit than taking the standard deduction. It's absolutely essential to stay on top of all this and informed about any kind of changes that could take place. So make sure to consult with a tax professional and a good CPA. If you need recommendations after you reach out to me, I had them for you. Number 3, new housing starts and inventory shortages. The DC metro area has a severe housing supply shortage, especially for affordable homes and entry-level properties. Key trends that I'm watching for in 2025, number 1 are new construction delays. Builders are slowing down now due to high labor and material costs. There's also been a downtick in total permits taken for 2025 new build starts compared to last year. In another video, I'll be touching a bit more on this because I think this affects the market, and a lot of buyers that I speak to are interested in new construction, so I'll make sure to keep you informed. Luxury condos versus single-family homes. Most new builds nowadays are high-end condos, especially in DC and Northern Virginia, while single-family homes remain scarce in Northern Virginia and Montgomery County. There's also accessory dwelling units, also called ADUs. Now, more cities in Northern Virginia and Maryland, they're loosening zoning laws to allow these ADUs, which are in-law suites, basement apartments. This could also be another structure that is on your lot. As long as you live in the home, there's certain rules that are put in place on how big that second property can be and what it has to have to can be considered an ADU, but you can, as long as you can live in it, you could also rent it out. These are really helping with affordability and then an inventory spike as well. They're not super common at the moment, but I believe they're going to get more and more common, especially in those areas right around DC, in Northern Virginia, and in Montgomery County and PG County. Number 4, rental prices and affordability pressures. The DC rental market is shifting, and rent prices could see mixed trends in 2025. High-cost areas like DC, Arlington, and Bethesda, rent growth is actually slowing or even declining as more supply hits the market. More affordable areas like PG County, Loudoun, Fredericksburg, rents are rising as more people move further out to find affordability, moving the Arlington and DC and Bethesda area, and they choose to rent for a while first to find out exactly what it's like there. Do they like living there? So they'll take out a 6-month or a 12-month lease, and this is driving the rental prices up a bit. If you're a renter anywhere in the greater DC area, now may be a good time to negotiate a lease renewal or explore whether buying makes more financial sense. Reach out to your lender partner or your realtor, and we can go over it with you. Number 5, mortgage renewals and refinancing trends. Most U.S. mortgages are 30-year fixed loans, so homeowners aren't forced to renew at higher rates after a certain amount of time. Over 50% of U.S. mortgage holders have rates under 4%. Over half of the homeowners in this country have rates that are lower than 4%, so they're in the 3s. They won't sell unless absolutely necessary. The key takeaway here is that many homeowners aren't motivated to sell, keeping inventory tight and prices stable. You have to rely on your realtor to find off-market opportunities or know how to get your foot in the door and structure your offer accordingly to get you the house. Number 6, new mortgage rules and loan programs. There are several key mortgage rule changes that could help first-time buyers here in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Number 1 is the FHA loan limit increases. In high-cost areas, loan limits for FHA loans will rise, making it easier for lower down payment buyers to enter the market. You won't have to come in conventional and put at least 5-10+% down. You'll be able to take advantage of your FHA loan and put that 3.5% down. The FHA announced that these new loan limits would take effect after January 1st, so they are in effect as of right now. First-time homebuyer tax credits. Fed and local programs like DC Open Doors and Virginia Housing Grants will continue supporting buyers. There are other ones for Maryland, like the MMP. I'm going to get all into this in a first-time homebuyers video that's going to be coming out shortly as well. There's also the new 40-year mortgage option. While it's very rare, some lenders are experimenting with longer-term mortgages to lower those monthly payments. If you're thinking about buying in 2025, explore all of your loan options and down payment assistance programs before you decide. This is where it really helps to get 1, 2, 3 different opinions from lenders in the local market. Number 7, new construction market and pre-sale opportunities. Some builders offer discounts and incentives to attract buyers right now. Buying new construction in 2025 could be a smart move if you negotiate builder incentives or find pre-sale pricing discounts. This is something you're really going to want to rely on your realtor for, so make sure you ask me this question when you reach out. There are a ton of awesome new construction communities here in Northern Virginia specifically that I think that a lot of you would enjoy. Number 8, global economic trends and then the local impacts they have. With global tensions and trade policy shifts, economic changes in 2025 could impact home prices, mortgage rates, and inflation. Stock market volatility and investor confidence. We just saw what happened with a major blue chip stock like Nvidia, leaving investors confused and just completely on edge. Government spending and job stability in DC. The DC metro remains one of the most stable housing markets because of job stability. But economic uncertainty may cause short-term slowdowns with some of the changes that's happening in government. And lastly, number 9, the overall home sales and market activity. Will 2025 bring more buyers back to the market? With lower rates and new mortgage programs, home sales volume should increase. In fact, looking ahead, forecasts for the Mid-Atlantic housing market, which includes the entire DC area, predict a 7.5% rise in total home sales for 2025, which is an approximate 240,000 sales across the Bright MLS service area. But affordability remains a challenge, especially for first-time buyers. Well-priced homes will still sell fast, while overpriced ones are going to sit a little bit longer. And cash buyers and investors, they're going to return if rates fall significantly, right? Especially if they do, which could increase home prices all over again. If you're a buyer, you have to be strategic. There will be opportunities this year. There already have been, but competition will depend on your location. Specific cities and counties throughout Northern Virginia, DC, and Maryland all differ. So you want to make sure you reach out to your agent and we can go over a perfect game plan for you. Final thoughts on what this means. For buyers, you're going to get pre-approved. Get pre-approved early. Make sure you're set. Explore down payment assistance and what programs are available to you. And watch for rate drops. Make sure you have a trusted real estate professional that you're working with that's keeping their eye on the ball for you. Okay, you don't want to have to do this all yourself. Make sure your professional is taking care of this for you. For sellers, proper pricing is going to be critical. Overpricing will lead to stagnation. You'll ultimately, like never before, probably net less money in the end if you don't price correctly. It's super important right now. For investors, rental trends are favoring suburban areas for sure. Cash flow opportunities are increasing throughout the country, I'd say. Although the greater DC area has taken a hit on cash flow property opportunities over the last few years, you just really have to know where to look. You're always going to get your appreciation, but make sure that the realtor you're working with can go over some areas with you on where to look for cash flow if that's super important. If you guys have any questions at all, drop them in the comments. If you want to chat, again, schedule a free consultation. Link is in the description. And also, if you guys are thinking of moving to the area and are wondering what some of these beautiful towns and cities in the entire greater DC area look like, then check out this list of videos that I made for you. They're all full of 4K driving tours of each place that you're looking into. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.